G'day guys, how's it going? Welcome back of course to the Time Bomb channel, and I hope all is good and groovy in your part of the world. Watch review today of the Rotary Regent Sport GB5410/05. So yeah, straight out of the box, and as you can see, kind of similar to some of the other Rotary watches that I've had on the channel recently. The overall design isn't exactly avant-garde, and we can easily see some very well-known Genta concepts in this one. Is that a win or a fail? Well, it's kind of like asking you, if you photocopy your watch, will you have time to spare? Nobody really knows the answer. However, what I continue to like about their watches is that they look good, they're very well priced, and they're pretty robust. Let me just zoom in a fraction so we can see this one a bit better. And just before I get into the key speckage of this one, just wanted to give a massive shout out. And again, thank you to the lovely people over at First Class Watches for the loan of this one. If you do speak to them about this or any other watch, please do mention the Time Bomb channel, because I'm sure they'd like to hear where you've come from. Key speckage then, as I say, these are 40 mils across, fraction wider with that crown, but it doesn't really sit like a traditional 40 on wrist because of that case body, integrated bracelet, etc. Here it does sit a little bit larger. I'll throw it on wrist in a second. It's around 11.5 mils, 11.6 mils deep. You've got sapphire up top, and comes with 100 meters worth of watery goodness. Just while I'm throwing it on wrist, I can tell you that they retail for around £300 here in the UK, but they're currently on sale, I think, on First Class for around 270. So yeah, my wrist then, sorry, this is an unsized because it's a loaner. My wrist is then 7.25 inch, but you can give you a little bit of an understanding. As I say, they will sit a little bit larger than your average 40. I still think it looks very good, and I think the length of the lugs there as well, just grabs the shoulders of your wrist just where it should do. This one is a midnight blue, and they come in other colors. As you can see here on screen, you've got sort of the whites, the greens, and the blacks, etc. So you can pick, and I think I've seen some chrono versions as well, and I think I may have seen some with a come on a leather strap too. This one though is more on, as you can easily see, you don't need me to tell you, is more on the midnight side of the blue than it is the blue side of the midnight blue, if that makes sense. In that I haven't really seen it blue very many times. It's more sort of a light black, and I really do think perhaps, the shine of the silver, etc., the steel, could probably carry off a much lighter blue in this sense. I'm not talking about eggshell blue, but something just a little bit bluer. Zoom in even further. Let's grab a look at that date window, so you can see that it nestles there nicely. Little silver frame around it. It's deep and it's clear. The hands and the hour markers reflect each other, and again, super legible. You've got no issues because of the contrast and the silver and the lume infills on these. It really does stand out very well against the dial. The case body features some very, and the bracelet as well, some very heavy brushing there, as you can see. Obviously you get those little fingerprints. You don't get those little fingerprints. You get the polished midsections there for contrast, and then you've got polish again on the sides of the flanks here as well, cutouts, and then again on that other side, unside crown, you notice there too. The steel bracelet, I mean, is super solid, really is, and it's very stiff. There's zero wiggle, jingle jangle in this at all. But the one thing that I can't attest to is how it sits on wrist when it's sized, because obviously this has been loaned in from the shop unsized. And as I say, so I hope it's as comfortable as it looks, but again, I can't tell you that today. Note the other thing, of course, is that you've got push pins there, so on sizing, do make sure you follow the little arrows. As you probably expect on a watch like this, you then have, see through the camera, you then have butterfly clasp there, little signature, the rotary wings on their butterfly, but otherwise, yeah, seems pretty okay. You do then get a see-through case back here. Now, potentially a little bit of a gimmick, but I've been having a think about that because I'm not a huge fan of see-throughs on this. I mean, you can see, I don't know if you can see, he says you can see, is a rotary, sorry, it's a rotary, it's a Myota movement in there. And it's interesting that they chose an automatic for these as opposed to quartz, as I think many other brands would have and have done with this style of watch. But I was thinking about it a little bit more. Maybe this is, the entry-level automatic for the younger generations. In that case, that see-through case back, I think, is probably a nice gimmick because it might open the door to automatic interest, automatic movement interest for younger guys. I did mention the loom on the hands and the hour markers earlier. It pops very well, nice and clean, looks pretty balanced and well applied. I don't know how long it's going to last through the night, but yeah, just on first glance, it looks pretty good. I think, in general, the watch looks a lot spendier than it is, and I think it's going to appeal, therefore, to young and older guys for different reasons. My only neg, as I say, is that deep blue. If they could have just lifted it a fraction more, I think it would have, really stood out a lot more. Massive thanks again to the guys at First Class Watches for the loaner, and very much looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the watch down below. Thanks as always for your time, guys, and for your view, and we'll catch you all in the next watch vid. Cheers now.